For the rest of us, it's more a question of, okay, we have to shift the way we support. And that's what we need to do.
Princess Anne has always been known for her unfiltered honesty, and over the years she shared some telling remarks about Queen Camilla that might make you wonder.
All the people that helped Camilla get the crown on her head were excluded from that coronation.
Was she trying to warn us? What did Anne see in Camilla that raised her concerns? Number 15. The third wheel alert. Did you know Princess Anne reportedly tried to knock some sense into her brother, King Charles, during his marriage to Diana? Yeah, she straight up warned him about keeping Camilla too close for comfort. Anne wasn't just meddling, she saw the writing on the wall. She knew the risks of King Charles playing both sides, being married to the beloved Diana while maintaining his connection with Camilla. Obviously, that's a bad look, especially for someone in line to the throne. Anne wasn't just worried about family drama either. She knew the British tabloids were waiting to pounce on any whiff of scandal, and Charles's actions had headline disaster written all over them. Imagine the fallout if the public figured out what was really going on. Princess Anne feared it wouldn't just break Diana's heart, but could also leave the entire royal image in tatters. And guess what? Charles didn't listen. Anne's warnings were brushed aside and, well, we all know how that turned out. The scandal became way bigger than anyone imagined, and the monarchy took a hit that's still talked about today. A little "I told you so" from Anne wouldn't have been out of place. Number 14. Early disapproval. From day one, Princess Anne made it crystal clear. She wasn't a fan of King Charles and Camilla's relationship, and she didn't sugarcoat her feelings. Anne, being all about duty and the monarchy's image, saw trouble brewing from miles away. Her issue wasn't just about family loyalty or personal grudges, she was thinking of the big picture. Anne knew how the public viewed the royal family. They weren't just figureheads, they were expected to lead by example. So, Charles getting cozy with a married woman, especially one with a past that had its fair share of complications, was a huge no-go in her eyes. She believed this kind of scandal could chip away at the moral pedestal the royals stood on. And let's face it, when you're in the spotlight as much as they are, public opinion can make or break you. Anne, ever the realist, thought Camilla's involvement would do more harm than good, especially at a time when the monarchy couldn't afford another controversy. Looks like she called it right. Number 13. Public image worries. Anne wasn't wrong when she said the monarchy's image was fragile. Case in point, Diana's famous Panorama interview in 1995, where she publicly addressed Charles's affair with Camilla.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Diana's raw honesty about feeling betrayed and her comment, "There were 3 of us in this marriage," shattered the fairy tale illusion of the royal family. The interview drew global attention and turned public sentiment against Charles and, by extension, Camilla. Princess Anne understood that this wasn't just tabloid gossip, it was a seismic shift in how people viewed the monarchy. Fast forward to today, and the fallout from those revelations still lingers. Even after years of careful image management, Camilla's path to public acceptance has been rocky, with critics continuing to draw comparisons to Diana. Anne's concerns about alienating the British public, especially those who adored Diana, proved to be chillingly accurate. It's clear that Anne wasn't just playing the role of the family skeptic. She had a sharp understanding of how actions behind palace walls could ripple out into the world, leaving lasting consequences. Number 12. The impact on Diana. Princess Anne wasn't particularly close to Diana, but that didn't stop her from being deeply concerned about how Charles's involvement with Camilla would affect the Princess of Wales. Diana, adored by millions, was under an unimaginable amount of pressure from both the media and her role within the royal family. Anne, ever practical, recognized that Diana's emotional struggles could spiral into something much bigger. And she wasn't wrong. One of the most notable examples of this came in 1992 when Diana's biography, Diana: Her True Story, was released. The book exposed the cracks in her marriage to Charles, detailing her struggles with mental health, her feelings of betrayal, and her eating disorder, all amplified by Charles's ongoing relationship with Camilla. It painted a heart-wrenching picture of Diana's life behind palace walls, turning her into a global symbol of heartbreak and resilience. The revelations rocked the royal family and made headlines worldwide. Anne reportedly feared that Diana's vulnerability would make her an easy target for media exploitation, and that's exactly what happened. The press not only fixated on Diana's pain, but turned her personal turmoil into a full-blown soap opera, with public sympathy squarely on her side and anger directed at Charles and the monarchy. Anne's concerns also extended to the monarchy's future. Diana's growing popularity, coupled with her struggles, created a unique problem for the royals. How could they maintain their authority and dignity while one of their most beloved members was being publicly cast as a victim of royal indifference? Number 11. Questioning Camilla's loyalty. Princess Anne never held back when it came to loyalty, and Camilla wasn't exactly winning her over. Anne had spent her entire life under the microscope, navigating the relentless demands of royal duty. So when it came to Camilla, Anne reportedly questioned whether she had what it took to withstand the scrutiny, sacrifice, and responsibilities of being part of the royal family. And Anne's concerns weren't unfounded. One issue was Camilla's history with Charles while still married to Andrew Parker Bowles. This wasn't just royal gossip. It was a fact that had been splashed across headlines, fueling a perception of betrayal. Anne, who valued discretion and discipline above all else, reportedly saw this as a red flag. If Camilla had been involved in such a controversial situation before, could she be trusted to protect the monarchy's image moving forward? Anne's suspicions were echoed by moments like the late 1990s backlash against Camilla. Public opinion of her was, at best, icy, with many Brits blaming her for the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage. Anne reportedly worried that Camilla's past actions weren't just a personal issue, they were a potential liability for the entire family. Public trust in the monarchy was already fragile, and Anne didn't want Camilla's history to bring further damage. One telling moment that reflected Anne's doubts was her seemingly distant relationship with Camilla in the years following Diana's death. While Anne never openly attacked her, insiders have noted that their interactions were formal at best. For someone as straightforward as Anne, this said a lot. Number 10. The too soon warning. After Princess Diana's tragic death in 1997, the world was in mourning, and public sentiment was firmly on Diana's side. During this emotionally charged period, Princess Anne reportedly stepped in with some critical advice for her brother, King Charles. Don't rush things with Camilla. Anne, always perceptive when it came to public opinion, warned that bringing Camilla into the spotlight too quickly could be seen as callous and out of touch. Anne wasn't just speculating, she had a clear sense of how deeply Diana's death had affected the British public. Polls at the time reflected an overwhelming loyalty to Diana, with many blaming Charles and Camilla for her unhappiness. Anne feared that introducing Camilla so soon after Diana's passing would feel like a slap in the face to those still grieving the people's princess. Her warning had merit. In the early 2000s, as Charles and Camilla's relationship became more public, the backlash was fierce. Royal events where Camilla appeared were often overshadowed by Diana's memory. For instance, the Queen reportedly declined to attend Charles and Camilla's 2005 wedding, a decision widely interpreted as a nod to lingering public discomfort. Looking back, it's hard to deny that her cautionary approach might have saved the family some of the turbulence that followed. Time, after all, has been a key factor in shifting public opinion, albeit slowly in Camilla's favor. Anne's insight was spot on. In matters of the heart and public perception, timing truly is everything. Number 9. The public versus private persona conflict. Princess Anne had spent her entire life navigating the fine line between private life and public duty, so when it came to Camilla, she had serious concerns about how well she'd handle the royal spotlight. Camilla may have been charming and well-liked in certain private circles, but stepping into the public role of a royal was a whole different ballgame, and one Anne knew all too well. The British press has never been known for its gentleness, and Anne had already witnessed firsthand how brutal it could be. A key example? The relentless scrutiny Diana faced, especially after her separation from Charles. From her fashion choices to her emotional struggles, nothing was off limits. Anne reportedly feared that Camilla, who had largely stayed out of the public eye until then, would be no match for the media frenzy. And she wasn't entirely wrong. When Camilla began to appear more publicly with Charles in the late 1990s and early 2000s, the comparisons to Diana were inevitable and often brutal. Headlines dubbed Diana a saint and Camilla a villain, with public sentiment heavily skewed against her. Anne, having faced her own share of media firestorms, likely saw this coming and questioned whether Camilla could withstand the relentless judgment. Number 8. The trust factor. Princess Anne reportedly saw early signs that Camilla's presence could complicate the already delicate relationship between King Charles and his sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. One clear example of these tensions surfaced in 2005 when Charles and Camilla announced their engagement. Reports at the time indicated that while the brothers publicly supported their father, behind the scenes the situation was far more complicated. Prince Harry, in particular, was said to have expressed concerns about how their mother's memory would be preserved within the family dynamic as Camilla officially joined their lives.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
Another revealing moment came during Charles's 60th birthday documentary in 2008. While William and Harry shared anecdotes about their father, their comments about Camilla were noticeably measured. Both avoided delving too deeply into her role in their family, reflecting the careful balancing act they were navigating between supporting their father and honoring their late mother's memory. Anne's fears weren't just rooted in loyalty to Diana, but in a practical understanding of family dynamics. Her warnings carried a deeper truth. While Camilla's presence was important to Charles, it also needed to be managed delicately to avoid alienating his sons, a concern that has resurfaced repeatedly in the years since. Number 7. The public opinion battle. One key example of public resistance to Camilla came during the Queen's Golden Jubilee celebrations in 2002. While the event was meant to honor Queen Elizabeth's 50 years on the throne, it also highlighted the ongoing tension surrounding Camilla's public image. Despite her growing presence in Charles's life, Camilla was noticeably absent from major public appearances during the Jubilee, signaling that the royal family still wasn't confident the public would accept her. Another moment that highlighted Anne's concerns was the public reaction to Camilla's inclusion in Charles's official royal duties. For instance, during a 2004 royal tour to Scotland, Charles and Camilla appeared together for a public event, but their reception was lukewarm at best. Crowds were smaller than expected, and the press noted that much of the attention still centered on Diana's legacy rather than on Charles and Camilla's future. Anne's worries about public perception weren't just theoretical, they were rooted in moments like these, where Camilla's integration into royal life revealed the enduring divide between private acceptance within the family and public resistance beyond palace walls. Number 6. Crisis of image. Princess Anne's concerns about Camilla weren't unfounded. She had already witnessed how the media could spiral out of control and tarnish the royal family's reputation. For instance, take the press frenzy that followed the leaked Camilla Gate tapes in 1993. The intimate phone call between Charles and Camilla became global tabloid fodder, further cementing Camilla's reputation as a controversial figure. The tapes didn't just affect Charles, they painted the entire royal family as embroiled in scandal, overshadowing their public duties. Anne, with her no-nonsense approach, likely saw these events as warnings of the chaos Camilla's return could bring. Her fears weren't misplaced. In the years after Camilla began making more public appearances with Charles, headlines often dredged up past controversies. The media frequently compared Camilla unfavorably to Diana, keeping the narrative of betrayal alive. For Anne, these moments weren't just about bad press, they represented distractions from the monarchy's work and threats to its stability. Number 5. Royal family tensions. The monarchy thrives on unity, and Anne reportedly feared that Camilla's growing role could destabilize the already delicate relationships within the royal circle. And let's face it, when family dynamics are as public as theirs, even the smallest cracks can snowball into major issues. Family tension came in the early 2000s when Charles began introducing Camilla into more formal royal events. Reports surfaced that Queen Elizabeth II herself was slow to warm to the idea of Camilla being part of the royal fold. It's even said that the Queen initially refused to meet her. Then there's the well-documented awkwardness between Camilla and Prince Philip. Known for his strong opinions, Philip was said to have been less than thrilled about Camilla's increasing prominence. This friction wasn't just personal, it had real implications for the family's ability to present a united front to the public, a key concern for Anne. Anne's relationship with Camilla herself was reportedly distant for years. While Anne kept things civil, their interactions were described as formal and reserved, reflecting Anne's skepticism about Camilla's role. Anne's ability to predict these challenges wasn't just insightful, it was spot on. Number 4. Caution or marriage. When King Charles and Camilla's marriage became a real possibility, Princess Anne didn't hold back her concerns. The public's reaction to Charles and Camilla's wedding announcement in 2005 offered a stark example of the controversy Anne had anticipated. While there was some support, a significant portion of the British public voiced disapproval. The subdued nature of their wedding, a civil ceremony instead of a grand church event, spoke volumes about the royal family's cautious approach. One moment that showed this tension came when Queen Elizabeth II reportedly skipped the wedding ceremony, attending only the subsequent blessing. While the Queen's absence was attributed to her role as the head of the Church of England, which frowns on remarriages after divorce, it underscored the complicated feelings surrounding the event. For Anne, this was precisely the kind of scenario she wanted to avoid, one where family decisions divided public opinion and cast shadows over the institution's integrity. Anne's caution wasn't about denying Charles his happiness, it was about preserving the monarchy's future. Number 3. The heir's image. Princess Anne reportedly delivered some of her sternest advice when it came to King Charles's image as the future monarch. To Anne, the public's perception of the royal family was deeply tied to its moral authority. After all, a monarchy without public trust isn't much of a monarchy at all. Anne likely had examples from history in mind. Consider the abdication crisis of 1936, when Edward VIII's decision to marry divorcee Wallis Simpson forced him to step down as king. The scandal didn't just tarnish Edward's reputation, it shook the monarchy to its core, raising questions about its relevance and future. Even before Charles married Camilla, his image as the heir had already taken a hit. One moment that captured Anne's fears was Charles and Camilla's official debut as a couple at the Ritz Hotel in 1999. While the event was supposed to mark a turning point, it was met with mixed reactions. Tabloids criticized the pair for their perceived insensitivity, claiming the timing still felt too soon after Diana's death. For Anne, such incidents highlighted the growing divide between Charles's personal decisions and the public's expectations of the future king. Number 2. A royal reputation at stake. Princess Anne's worries about Camilla went beyond scandal. They were rooted in the monarchy's fragile image. Diana's legacy as the compassionate modern royal still loomed large, making Camilla's integration even trickier. Anne also saw risks on a global scale. Commonwealth countries like Australia and Jamaica were already debating the monarchy's relevance, and Camilla's controversial reputation could fuel Republican movements. Number 1. Tangled ties. The royal web of relationships has always been complicated, but few dynamics were as tangled as those involving Princess Anne, Camilla, Charles, and Andrew Parker Bowles. Long before Camilla became a permanent fixture in Charles's life, she was linked to Andrew Parker Bowles, a man who also happened to be romantically involved with Princess Anne in the early 1970s. Anne and Andrew's relationship was reportedly short-lived due to royal protocol, as Andrew, a Catholic, wasn't considered a viable match for the Queen's daughter. This romantic history added another layer of tension when Camilla and Andrew eventually married in 1973, with Charles already in the picture as Camilla's admirer. It created an awkward, intertwined history that Anne likely hadn't forgotten when Camilla re-entered royal life as Charles's partner. Anne's concerns about Camilla weren't just rooted in her brother's relationship, but also in her first-hand experience with Camilla's social circle. Having once been part of that same world, Anne may have questioned whether Camilla, who navigated multiple high-profile relationships with ease, was a reliable addition to the royal family. One thing that might have heightened Anne's wariness was the awkward dynamic at family events where Andrew Parker Bowles continued to attend even after Camilla's relationship with Charles became public. Andrew remained close to the royal family, attending events such as Charles's wedding to Camilla in 2005. For Anne, the love triangle wasn't just personal history, it was a cautionary tale. She had seen the potential for messy entanglements firsthand and likely worried about how these unresolved tensions could impact the family's reputation. Do you think Princess Anne's concerns about Camilla were justified? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more.